Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's Dr. Janice Hooker Fortman with Relationship Matters TV. I hope everyone is having a beautiful, beautiful day. I'm here in Chicago and we don't know if it's summer, fall, winter, or spring. The other day it went down to the 30s. And in a couple of days, it's supposed to be 80. So we don't know. I take my winter coat, put it on, then take it off, and then go outside and then have a sweater on. But then before I can get back in the house, I got to put my winter coat back on. So we don't know what's going on. But anyway, we are all happy to be here. I always start off, I'm on my platform, and what's happening? COVID numbers are rising. It's some kind of strain, the B1, 2.3, 4 point, whatever. But people, wear your mask. I know we're tired of it. I know we want to hug people and we want to kiss people and we want to go to concerts and be in big crowds. And we want to do all of that. But what's happening? Because we're doing all of that, what they're saying is that there's going to be a surge in the summer. Wear your mask. Get your vaccines. Be safe out there. Because I don't want any of you out there to come down with COVID. Well, this is a few days before Mother's Day, and I wanted to do a show focusing on the relationships that we have with our moms. And so I'm going to play a little video first, then I'm going to introduce our guests. So this is the little video. I hope it comes out right. Jesse and Janice. Okay, Jessie Mae Travis was my mom. She passed in 2017. And as you can see, we kind of look alike. People say we act alike, talk alike, whatever, have the same kind of personality. But that's just me. Anyway, I want to bring my guest on, but let me tell you a little bit about her before I bring her on. Her name is Evelyn Wang. So let me tell you a little bit about Evelyn. She's a board-certified instructor of hypnotherapy. She's a certified hypnotherapist for chronic diseases, a board-certified NLP trainer, board-certified master coach, certified biofeedback practitioner, certified sports performance specialist. I'm getting tongue-tied. Certified weight loss specialist, smoking cessation, not sensation, cessation specialist, certified pain management specialist, a mastermind success facilitator for the Enneagram healing practitioner, and she's very empathetic and intuitive. You know what? When I grow up, I want to be just like Evelyn.
Well, thank you, Doctor. Yay! Here I
How are
am.
you?
Good. Thank you. Thanks
It
for
is
having me.
Oh, yes, it's so good to finally meet you. We had scheduled Evelyn and all kinds of things happening to Evelyn, happening to me, just happening. But we are so excited to have Evelyn on today. And as I said, we're going to talk about the relationships with our mothers.
Mhm.
But first, Evelyn, your background is so interesting. Tell us about your background. Tell us who you are. We know what you do, but
Mhm.
tell us who you are.
Well, I am Evelyn Wang, and thank you for having me, Dr. Janice. Um, I grew up in I was born in Taiwan. So my family was, we moved to Guam, the island of Guam, when I was 7. So the reason that we went there is my parents wanted us to just learn different things other than just staying in um, Taiwan. So we moved to Guam, and I was there for about 9, 10 years. And then when I was 16, that's when our whole family moved to California. And as soon as we got to California, I went to high school. It's the last 2 years of high school. I started working, and because I'm always very curious about different things, people and things. So I started going to apply for different jobs. And I did go to school, but most of my interest is more about experience, learning things, hands-on experience. So after I went to, trying to remember my history, when I just went to different places of employment to get different type of experience. And in the 90s, I went to attend the Gemological School of America. I learned about gemstones and also learned about how to um, set stones and looking at the beautiful, grading beautiful stones. And I went there for a year. After that, I ended up working at corporate and working with different corporations. I landed a company that manufacture mechanical switches. So I was working with actually um, military projects and learn a lot of things about government operation and military. So after that, I ventured when I left that job. I started working at the Camarillo State Hospital, and that was really where I really enjoyed the job working with the clients there and spark even more my curiosity on human behavior. And I worked there until the hospital closed. And after the hospital closed, I was looking for jobs, and I met my partner, my current partner, and we both decided to go to hypnotherapy school. And at that time, I was, working on relationship with my mother, and I thought, why not go to the school, learn the tools to help others, and also be helping me. And and that's what I did. I worked with my mentor at school and worked with different personal development coaches, and I transformed my relationship with my mother from from a relationship that was really it wasn't I did not have a very close relationship with my mother. So after I did all the work, that's when I have this huge transformation, and it transformed me, it transformed her, it transformed our relationship, and also transformed our family relationship with my siblings.
So when you say that you didn't have, the closest relationship with your mom, so when did that start? Did that start, when you were a little girl,
Mhm.
when you were extremely adventurous? Uh, when did it start? And tell me some of the things that happened, because a lot of times as a kid, kind of, we really don't know what the relationship with our moms is supposed to be like.
Right.
So tell us about it.
Yeah, with growing up in a strict Asian culture family. So there's a lot of competitions where my parents, I'm the second oldest, I'm the second child, so I have 3 other siblings. So my oldest sister is a valedictorian. She did well in school. She loved school, and I am the opposite. I just wanted to go out there and experience, and so didn't really have good grades when I was younger. But I do see the preference of treating my sister one way and the way that they were treating me, and I started noticing that, and also noticing, wow, I get in trouble a lot, and so that was yeah, it can go back really, really young. And when I was younger, I grew up with my grandmother. So she had me go and stay with my mom had me stay with my grandmother for a few years, and then I moved back home with the entire family. So I think around that time I just noticed that um, it's more about the comparison. It's more about your sister's doing this and you're not. You know, your sister has long hair, you don't have it. Or just little things like that where and at that time it didn't really affect me so much. I didn't realize it until I was older. So um, but that was many, many different incidences of the comparison. That's really, really the big factor. I mean, feeling a little bit about, you know, feeling like an outsider.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because my
And
siblings, I have one brother. So in Asian culture, the son is, the golden child. So he's
not
what
just
he
in Asian
prays.
culture,
Yeah.
not I can tell you that.
In every way. Very common. And then I have my youngest sister. She's the youngest. So there's this, the sibling, I am the second oldest. So the middle child, it's kind of where I pretty much have more of an independent and individual mind, which I want to experience more compared to my siblings. Yeah.
And that's something that uh, a lot of parents don't realize, and mothers and fathers really, is that kids, you can pick up when, let's say, a sibling is more favored, and even though a lot of moms will say, oh, I treat all my children
Mhm.
like, they're all like, but not really, because
Right.
moms, when we think about it, there is, if you have more than one child, or you have a few, there is that one child
Yeah.
that you kind of lean towards a little more. And the thing is, the child that not the one, so to speak,
Hmm.
really, really knows that, and uh, it affects us, and I say us, uh,
Hmm.
because my brother, like you said, got the boys in the family. Yeah, he could do no wrong.
Right.
And you don't know that when you're young. You don't know how it affects you, but as you get older, then you look back and it does affect you. So that's when you were young. So was it the same, as you became an adult?
Hmm. Yeah, especially when we moved to Guam. I was 7, getting to 8, between 7 and 8, and going to Guam is different territory. It's U.S. So it's not Taiwan anymore.
Okay.
So in my mind was, wow, we could do whatever we wanted to do, supposedly. And then it was more about I wanted to explore more. I have a lot of friends at different backgrounds and nationalities. And um, that's how I started just experiencing different cultures. But my oldest sister, she stayed with the Asian friends. So I was more just stepping out, and I noticed that too. It's stepping out of the family dynamic, and it's my mom is hooking me back in. It's like, okay, you're kind of stepping out of the line, so you have to come back in. So there's a lot of that. I was, 14, 15, 16. Of course, I was partying and doing different things with my friends. And so, um, and I do remember my dad when at that time, he was still around. Um, he was alive, and he would say, "Why are you so different than the rest of us?"
Mhm.
And at that time, it didn't feel good. But now that I remember, what he said, I can embrace that because, that really promoted my individuality. So at
Mhm.
that time, I didn't know. At that time was more about I didn't belong. There was something wrong. So And when I turned 16, our whole family moved to California, and my sister was going to UCI first year. So, and then when we went to California, I was like, wow, it's California. So here, I'm already free there, and at Guam's a little bit of freedom, and now we're in California, and it was. I wanted to do more, so I started working. I started working at my first job was at Del Taco. So I was 16. I worked at Del Taco, and my mom was very against it. She wanted me to go to school, study, couldn't graduate from high school, go to college, but I just didn't wanted to do that. So when I was 19, I moved out, and that was when the whole transition um, it escalated the chaotic relationship that we had.
Mhm.
So because end up doing I always wanted to do something for myself. So during that time, my parents were living in Taiwan. So weekly we'll have a call, follow up, and so most of my calls is telling me what I did not do, and what didn't I do right. So it's just kind of all these emotions and just keep piling up, and it was very very difficult for me to even speak to them in a
So
very.
you were estranged for a while, but you still kept, you know, like you say, your calls with your mom.
Yeah, it was more of a in my perspective, it was more of an obligation, because
Yeah.
if I didn't call one week, I'll hear about it the next week.
Okay.
So it was one of those where it's like I'm obligated to call just to say hello, and but it just really separated us even more so because of
Yeah.
that repeat of telling me how bad I was and I didn't do this, I didn't do that because it's according to their book.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a difference, in generations. It's, one generation sees something one way,
Right.
and often what happens is our moms or our parents want for their children, they want the same things for their children. But and as far as your sister was concerned, um, I don't know if your parents had advanced degrees or anything, but then what they saw in your sister was that she was doing something that they wanted her to do.
Hmm.
They weren't able to do it,
Right.
and parents often don't listen to what the child wants
Yeah.
because they feel that what they think is best for the child
Right.
is, you know, is where that child should go. Because so there are those different points of view. I saw something on TV today, and it was one of the movie stars, and she was talking about raising her kids,
Mm.
and she says, well, I let them be independent, and I let them think differently. And she says, if they're standing up on the couch and they want to jump off the couch, which is using that as an example, she'll say to them, well, if you jump, you probably are going to hurt yourself. But then she
Mm.
goes ahead and she lets them jump.
Mm.
So I can understand the difference when you are not like your mom wants you to be. And it's usually because she feels that what she wants for you is best for you.
Right.
It comes
Right.
from that.
Yeah.
It comes from that.
Yeah.
I know I was a little bit like you.
Just a little.
Well, no, according to my mom, no, I was a whole lot. you know, just doing things like I wanted to do them. And sometimes it seemed, because I was in education, oh, you need to be an administrator.
Hmm.
In a school, you need to be a principal. And I'm like, I don't want to be. Oh no, but you need to be. But no, I don't want to be. And so there was that little. I guess we bumped heads on a lot of things, but we bumped heads, especially on that and my career. choice,
Mm.
so
Mhm.
so to speak. So as you got to be an adult, what I want to do is talk about why, well, not why you decided to mend the relationship,
Mm.
but when did you make up your mind that you really had to do something about this relationship? You really, had to change it.
Yeah, it was it's actually when my dad passed. When he passed away, this is about 13 years ago now. When he passed away, I said to my, and at the same time, I lost my job. So it was all these things happening at the same time. And I started, doing a lot of self work and started thinking, I don't want this to continue with my mother. It just did not feel right. It felt right, of course, to me because I felt like I was done wrong. And then when he passed away, that really kind of gave me this sense of this is not how it should be for me and for my mom. I mean, maybe when I say for me, it may sound selfish, but it starts with me. And I just didn't want to have that to continue. And besides, it was a relationship not with just her, but with my oldest sister as well, because our family was kind of not very close, and um, but I wanted to have a unity, not with my mom, but I mean, the reward was with the entire family, especially my sister, my oldest sister. But so that was the turning point, and so when I was in Taiwan when he passed away, and I was there for about a month, and I came home, um, and that was when I met my current partner, and then we start. He's been in doing a lot of personal development, and we started talking, and he found the hypnotherapy school, and we just attended the school, and that to me that was the answer. That was that was the tool that's going to help me start my journey of changing my relationship with myself and my mother.
So when you say hypnotherapy, so was I'm not that familiar with hypnotherapy, so to speak.
Mhm.
So was it hypnotherapy to work on you?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a school to it was a school for certified hypnotherapists.
Okay.
It was a school that to attend. But what I was doing was like, well, I'm not working. This is interesting. I heard about it before. So I thought, well, I am going to be working on myself, so why not learn the tools to have a different career, and then in the same time I'll be helping myself. So that's a kind of a win-win for me. So when we went into school, we signed up, and hypnosis is really about focus awareness. You think about the sports in athletes, they say that I'm in the zone. Their focused awareness. When you're reading a book, you're focused awareness. So if you think about it, when you're reading a book, a really nice, a good book, you're so involved in the book. It's almost like you're in a trance with the book. So I'm sure there's times that you're so, in tune with the book, what you're reading, you don't hear anybody. If someone is calling you, probably didn't hear anybody calling you. So hypnosis is just a form of trance, a form of focused awareness. That's it.
Oh.
And we do that every day. So if you
Even
can.
when we don't know we're doing it. Right.
Right, exactly, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, you're walking out, or if you go to the beach, staring at the sunset, you're in your own trance. You're trance in the beauty of the scenery, the sunset. So utilizing hypnosis and coaching really helped me be more accountable for me, responsible for my actions and my reactions. And of course, it wasn't a very fun ride because I have to really face myself. However, it was a very rewarding journey for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more about your journey, but first I have just take a brief commercial. So we will be right back with Evelyn Wang. We'll be right back. We are back with Evelyn
Hi.
Wang. And so we're really going to talk about, I really want to go into how, I know you use hypnotherapy to work on yourself. So exactly how did you use it to mend the relationship with your mom?
Well, it's, as we know, we learn a lot. I learn, most of us learn a lot of things from our primary caretaker. So with hypnosis, it helps me tap into my subconscious mind, which is things that I learned when I was really young. And with the help of my mentor, we discover some of the limiting beliefs and also the negative emotions that I was carrying, and my belief about my mother, her reactions, her actions. I thought that I knew what she believes. So, with the help of hypnosis and the coaching, it's really just tapping into my deeper self and finding out what I truly want. And during hypnosis is while you are I'm super relaxed. Just I'm just laying there listening to my mentor giving me my the positive suggestions to help me create the change that sticks. Because my conscious mind wants to mend the relationship with my mother, but my unconscious mind it's not there yet because of all the limiting beliefs that I had that it's not bridging with my conscious mind. So with hypnotherapy and coaching, that's what it did. It helped me to bridge the conscious mind and the unconscious mind together to create that change.
So, okay, so you were making this change, mending the relationship with your mom.
Mhm.
How exactly did you go about it?
So what was interesting is I told my mentor, okay, I have a trip coming up with my mom and my oldest sister and my youngest sister in San Francisco. My youngest sister lives in San Francisco. So I said, this is the test to see if the work that I'm doing it's working. So I went to visit them, and of course my sisters got into a fight. They were just arguing with each other on the way back from dinner, and me and my mom was just sitting in the car going. And usually in the past I would get in with my youngest sister and start going at it with my oldest sister. And at that time I just sat and I just observed. There was no reaction at all. And it was just observing with curiosity. And the thought that came to my mind when I was observing them fighting is, wow, I would have been one of them in that huddle of just screaming at each other while my mom is just sitting at the corner quietly, just watching us. So we get back to my sister's house, and my youngest sister was very upset, so she went out and walked her dog. And my older sister started coming at me, and she was just saying things to me, and I just used some of the stuff that I learned. I spoke with her, in a way, and I told her that I also am working on myself so that we are not continuing this cycle. And she didn't understand what I was saying, but it really doesn't matter because my mom told me later. She said, I don't know what you said to her, but she's shifting in the way that she's interacting with people. So I was like, wow, because I didn't even that wasn't my intention. My intention was just be truthful. I didn't want to get into a fight. And I did tell my oldest sister that night. I said, you may want to apologize to Kathy. And the next morning she did. I heard her apologize. So I was like, wow, and that's what's the beauty of it is it wasn't something that I planned to do. It was something that I just stuck with what I believe that is true for me. And I just let it happen. And ever since that day, it was I took another trip with my mom to San Francisco. I spent the whole day with her on the bus.
Oh,
I couldn't do that in the past. There is no way, not even on the phone for 5 minutes, without getting into argument and disagreement. So that was really, really fun. I enjoyed her telling me the same story 3, 4 times. I
okay.
didn't mind. It was just a different experience. It was a different perspective. I was still me, she's still her, but the dynamic was so different. And then what well, I'm going to back it up. What happened was, before that happened, was she was on the video call with me. She's in Taiwan and I'm here.
Okay.
And she's at that time I gained a lot of weight and I knew it. It wasn't healthy. So her tactic is to shame me, as usual.
As
That's her
you
tactic,
okay.
right? So she's done that many years, and so we're on the video call, and she's telling me, "Well, you did this, and you look fat, and blah 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 blah." So I'm sitting there looking at her on video, and I started feeling this sensation in my the pit of my stomach. I was ready to just like, okay, I'm gonna attack you. And as soon as I felt it right where my navel is, I said to myself, the voice is like, nope, you're not doing this. So I looked at my mom and I said, yeah, you're right. That's all I said. And that look on her face,
Was like,
she was like, and then it was silent for a few seconds. And she goes, well, I'm going to the store today. She completely changed her story. And it's that moment that changed everything for the both of us.
yes, I tell my clients, you cannot change your mother, but you can change the way you respond to challenging situations.
Yeah.
And it's usually all about the way we communicate, and with what you did right then, it was like you did not feed into um
Right.
uh and and that's wonderful. That's something that I really think is very valuable uh for mothers, adult daughters, and mothers.
Mm-hmm.
They get into those arguments of misunderstandings or that same negative pattern. It's really up to the daughter. It's really
It
up to
is.
the daughter, you know.
You're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like you said, that feeling that came over you, but then it's like you have to, as daughters, you have to step back,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't want to do it.
Yeah. It's hard. It's challenging.
It's
You
very
know?
challenging.
Yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
challenging. And so is that something that you continue? So because you mended that relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
so you continued not responding, in the way that normally you
Yeah.
would respond.
Right.
So how did that affect your relationship with your sister?
Well, it was very interesting is I wasn't really talking to her, after that trip, but out of the blue, she called me and she asked me if I would help her in her business. She's a endocrinologist. She's a doctor, so she has two offices, and I was surprised because what I used to do in corporate, I used to write procedures. I was a manager, and so with structure of the business and stuff, and she knew about it, but we never really talked about it. But since this dynamic changed with my mom, out of the blue, she called me, and I was like, "What? You want me to help you with what?" I mean, that was kind of short lived anyway, but it was very. Um, I was very pleasantly surprised that we were able to even have some, um, adult conversation rather than in the past it was just something we get into a fight. She said something wrong, I said something wrong, then she hangs up on me. One of those
Yeah.
sisterly fights. So, but that was very different, and ever since after that, and it changed her in a way where she wasn't really involved with um, the family so much after she got married. So um, after this, she got more into it. So she joined our family group chat. So she's also here. She's in California. So my brother and his family and my mom, they're in Taiwan.
Hmm.
So we stay in touch in the group chat. So she joined in. So that was very interesting, especially when we go back to Taiwan. We used to go back to Taiwan every year to visit. And I think back now is if all of us are sitting in one room, we're just, you can tell who wants to hang out with who and who doesn't want to be around who. And
Okay.
it's with my brother, my nephew, my sisters. I'm very close to my youngest sister, so we're always just kind of huddling in one side of the room, and my older sister will be kind of on her own. But
Okay.
since the dynamic changed, it was more of a group interaction.
That
So
is so wonderful. That is
yeah,
so wonderful. So mending your relationship with your mom helped you really with your other relationships
Yeah. Yeah.
as far as your family. But now, as far as your professional relationships, did that affect the way mending that relationship with your mom? Did that affect any of your professional relationships where you felt there were challenges?
How do you mean?
Well, okay. The relationship the relationship with our moms
Mm-hmm.
affects all of our other relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I mean, in that you were reactive. You used to be reactive
Uh-huh.
as far as your mom was concerned. So did you
Right.
see that like in your professional life, or even with, you know, other personal friends? That's what I'm getting at.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially in business. I think I can, 20 in my 20s, I was, the way that I was with customers sometimes, I would say maybe short fuse. I still did my job. Um, I was in customer service back then. And, but I can tell that I was very, what would I say? Um, well, a nicer way is very assertive.
Okay. Okay.
But I was still, because at that time it was, in my mind, is don't tell me what to do,
Got it.
right? Because my mom was telling me what to do.
Got it. I can relate.
So it definitely did. Yeah, it did affect it at that time. But I think when I got, in my 30s and 40s, it didn't really affect me so much. It's more about, it affected me more in a positive way. My dad, we own a lot of companies. So when was the sales manager and I was traveling a lot to China and Taiwan, that was our bond. We can talk about management. We can talk about employees. And I utilized that to bond with him, the latter part of his life. So I would say that part of it helped me. But in my 20s, definitely, yeah, that attitude was there for sure.
And that's what I tell people, that the relationships with your mom is really the most important relationship in your life, because
Hmm.
it affects everything. I mean, it affects the way you relate to other people. It affects the friends you choose. It affects whether or not you get married, whether or not you have kids,
Hmm.
all kinds of the your careers, the way you dress, everything. And so it's so important that we really kind of focus on that. When I was doing research about, the challenges in the mother-daughter relationship, I was surprised that I didn't see a lot of research. You
Mm.
know, now I see, some articles, but and then when you watch movies and there's this challenging mother and daughter relationship, it's always a comedy. It's like they
Yeah.
laugh, or it's not really taken seriously. But
Hmm.
a question came in, and the question is, what would you say to adult daughters who had challenging relationships with their moms, but their moms have passed?
Mm.
How how can hypnotherapy help them?
Yeah. Hypnotherapy will definitely help someone with a passing, parent, because as we know, it's when the parent physically is not here, but energetically, spiritually, they're with their loved ones all the time. I mean, that's what I believe, and most of my clients do too. And just because the person's not physically present anymore, it does not mean that you cannot let go, because the 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 main the factor of you changing is starts from you as an individual. So if the daughter is struggling. It's more about working on herself, about what can she forgive about herself. Because she is still her mom. They're a mirror of each other. You know, whoever, even though you may not like the other person, but that person is a mirror of you, whoever that you're closest to, and especially your mother. You know, so there's that connection there. So with hypnotherapy is to tap into that subconscious mind of discovering, you know, what it is that was motivating them to do what they used to do, and what resources that they already have within them. We're going to utilize those resources because a lot of us have resources in us and we forget to use some of them. You know, for example, if someone can have confidence, maybe 10 years ago they had such confidence they were able to do everything they wanted to do. 15 years later, they're in a situation it's like, wow, I don't have confidence anymore because this and that. Well, but that confidence is still in that person. That's still there. You just haven't tapped into it. So with hypnotherapy, we're tapping into the deepest part of the a person so that we can work on the resources and help them let go. Because it's really not about the mother. It's not
Right,
really not about the other person. It's all about us, the
right,
individual. Yeah.
right, right, right. So tell us, okay, so you, uh, at the beginning of this show, I talked about all the things that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, So tell us all about what you do. I know you work with mothers and daughters, but as far as the other all of
Mhm.
your other certifications,
Mhm.
so tell us about that.
Okay. Yeah, it's just a combination of different methods that I use with my clients, but mainly is hypnotherapy and coaching. So with the pain management, I work with a lot of clients that has chronic illness. So it's to help them manage their discomfort. You know, we have there's clients that they may have been experiencing a level maybe 8 discomfort throughout the day. With hypnotherapy and pain coaching could help them to reduce that pain to probably 2 or 1, or sometimes it may not be there. So a lot of times, what we notice is if someone has a chronic pain for over 6 or 8 weeks, that could be, not always, it may be an indicative, an emotional issue.
Really?
Yeah. Because what happens is our subconscious mind can't speak to us, right?
Mhm.
So as we're talking right now, we're consciously speaking to each other. And
Oh,
right before we go to bed, we hypnotize ourselves every night. That state where you're kind of groggy and you feel so tired and you can't really open your eyes and you fall asleep, that period right there, that's hypnosis.
really?
So we hypnotize ourselves every night. So in my sessions with my clients is we're utilizing that state, because that's the state where the subconscious mind is awake and your conscious mind is going to sleep. You know, when you're sleeping, you're not consciously aware, oh, I'm breathing, how many breaths
Right.
a minute, my blood is pumping, you know, all my cells is working as I'm resting. So your subconscious mind is really the domain of your health, your body. So hypnotherapy and coaching is we're tapping into the subconscious mind, and that's where all that good stuff that we need to let go of, all swimming in there, you know. So that's where we're utilizing the relaxation, utilizing the relaxation so your mind is more open. And during hypnosis, your body is so relaxed, but your mind is really, really alert.
Okay.
So, and the what hypnotherapy is, as a practitioner, I'm just a guide to your deeper self. to your resources, to your own answers. I'm not the authority of anyone. I'm just there to facilitate, to guide them
Okay.
to that, to the change that they want. Yeah.
Okay. All righty. Gee, I had a couple of questions that came in. We only got a few minutes. Okay, so uh, which one of your clients has been the most difficult to deal with? I know you can't say the names, but a situation.
Let's see. It's actually a well, I wouldn't even say the client was difficult, but it was a very, very interesting case. He had what was the word? Had a stroke. He was a stroke patient. So
Okay.
he was referred to me by one of our students that actually works at a brain injury center. So I was working with him, and um, it was really hard for us to communicate because it was really hard for him to speak. Is slow speaking, and he was going to speech classes. His wife is there to interpret for me, because she understood his
Okay.
mumbles. And a lot of times when I'm asking questions, it was is I couldn't really understand him. So so I said he's not really difficult, but it was in my shoes, like, oh my god, how am I going to do this? Because he wasn't really speak. I couldn't really understand him. However, when he's in hypnosis, deep hypnosis, he's able to speak clearly. I'm also, and I would ask him to say certain words and he will repeat it. It's doing more homework when his speech therapist is giving him, and I'm reinforcing what he's being taught and practicing. And he couldn't raise his right arm, when he's conscious, like halfway. In hypnosis, he raises his arm all the way up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? That is so
Yeah. It's
interesting.
such a phenomenal work where you can see how powerful a person's mind is, in their subconscious mind is when you are completely relaxed. And you've been in relaxed situations, nothing really matters at that moment. At that
Very true.
moment. So we are I am also teaching my client to be in the present moment. Right now
Yeah.
there's nothing going on. What's
Yeah.
going on is your head. Whatever that's swimming in there, that's what's going on. But right now you're okay. That's really the core of the teaching, and like educating and helping someone understand. It's like it's okay to be in the present moment. Whatever that's in your mind right now, yes, it's still going to be there. But is it really true because it's not happening right now?
Yeah. They always talk about being in the present, and it's like you have to concentrate
Yeah,
to be in the present
right.
because all these things start going through your mind. You start getting distracted. It's hard to be in the present, so to speak. So we only just got a couple of minutes, and we had another question, but it's I think it's kind of long and drawn out. But you can answer yes or no. It says this conversation falls under the category of mental health. Should the government make mental health free to everyone?
Should the government what? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Should the government make mental health free to everyone?
God, that would be great. But then I'll
Oh,
be out of business. Is that a good answer?
yeah,
I mean, there's definitely help out there, for sure. And I just think that even mental health is very, very important. And sometimes people tack on to the rate of it, the coaching and stuff. So for me, as we talk about certain things, is it's not really the coaching, the stuff that we do, helping someone transform their lives. That's the value there. I don't know how can you put a price on that? You
very
know,
true.
you can't. I mean, we're not a commodity off the shelf. we're
right.
helping someone transform their lives. So it's really about the value that you see of this type of help and the person that's guiding you. Or are you just looking, I mean, because us human being, you can't put a price on a human being.
Exactly. I agree with you. I agree with you. So if people want to get in contact with you, so they are to go to your website, which I'm telling you, go to the website. It's so interesting. And you see this, the cutest picture of her as a
Me
baby.
playing my piano.
And it's baby, it's so cute. But go to www.evelyntwang.com. And if you do that, you will get all of her information. You will see all of her contact. You will see everything that Evelyn can do for you. And I just think, the work you are doing is just so amazing, so wonderful. And Renita
Thank you.
Dixon says the same thing, that you are amazing. What you do is amazing. But I want to thank you so much for coming on. Your information and what you've talked about, I know you've given my audience, including me, just loads and loads and loads of value. So
Hey.
I want you to have a beautiful, blessed rest of your day. I know you're out there in sunny California.
Yes, it's hot today.
Oh, I don't want to hear it.
I know.
I don't want to hear it. So thank you so much,
Thank
Evelyn,
you so much.
and we will see you again.
Okay.
All
Yes.
right. All right. Bye bye.
Bye.
Wow, this has been great. Mother's Day is Sunday, and call your mom, call your mother, even if you're not having the best relationship with her. Call your mother, wish her a happy Mother's Day. So I will see you again next Thursday, same time, same place. Have a blessed one. Bye.